Alright guys, to make this sleeve you need your fabric and then you need a basic sleeve pattern. Now if you don't know how to already go about drafting out your basic sleeve, I have a video on how to do that already on the channel. Now this particular sleeve, the length that is supposed to be by the time I'm done is 14 inches. But because I'm going to be having double puffs, I need more inches so that by the time I make my puffs, the sleeve doesn't become too short. So when I was drafting out this basic sleeve, instead of 14 inches, I used 20 inches. Okay, so basically I added extra 6 inches to my normal sleeve length that I needed. So once you're through with this, at the bottom of your sleeve, go ahead and divide what you have. So I'm just going to use 1 inch to separate this, since what I have here is 6. You can use 1.5, you can use 2 inches to make this separation at the bottom. So once you're done using your pencil to mark this separation at the bottom, you can go ahead now and draw straight lines from each point you have at the bottom all the way to the top. Now these lines don't necessarily need to be very straight and all. You just need to be able to cut this out into tiny pieces so that we can get your slash and spread for the sleeve pattern. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and take each point all the way to the top, label them 1 to 5 or 1 to 6 depending on how many numbers I have, and then go ahead and cut through each line. So I had 6 lines in total, as you can see. So what I'm going ahead to do now is to cut through each line all the way from the bottom down to the top. Because we are doing total slash and spread here, you are going to cut all your pieces all the way through. So guys, once you're done cutting this out, you can take them aside for now and bring your sleeve pattern. I'm only going to be cutting out one sleeve for this tutorial, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and fold the wrong side to face me, and then I'm going to fold a part of the fabric into 2. Now your fold is going to depend on how wide you want the sleeve to be. As my fabric is in a fold, what I have here now is about 16 inches. So by the time I make my gathers and all of that on this sleeve, it's going to be puff enough. Alright, so it depends on how big you want it to be. So as mine is in a fold, it is 16 inches. So now I'm going ahead to trim off the excess fabrics that I do not need from the side and from the bottom as well. Now once you're through, you're going to go ahead and fold your bottom in a bit like this, because we need this for our elastic casing later. So I will just use my iron to secure it in place so I don't have to pin this down. So once you're through with this, you are going to start arranging the pieces one after the other. Now pattern 1 will be placed very close to the folded edge like I've done here, and notice how I'm placing it also at the bottom as well. Alright, so now go ahead and pin this down at the top and bottom just like you see me doing like this. Now the next piece is going to be paper 2. You measure the distance between paper 1 and 2. Now the distance I want to give my patterns is 1.5 inch. You can do 2 inches, you can do 1 inches. Just know that the more inches you are giving each paper, the bigger your sleeve is going to be. For this, I think 1.5 inch is better. So I'm just arranging all the pieces down, making sure that the distance between each paper is 1.5 inch. So I'm going to arrange all my pieces like this and then go ahead and pin it down. So now once you're pinning down your pieces, you're going to go ahead and mark the new armhole. So I'm just marking it about 1/2 inch away from my papers like this. I'm going to mark it all the way through to the end of the papers, just like you see me doing like this. It's actually very simple. The slash and spread method has been done. All we have to do now is just trace out our new sleeve, which is what I've done all the way around, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut through all the areas that I've marked out. So once you're through with this, go ahead and remove your pattern papers. You are done cutting out the sleeve. Now take note that this is just one sleeve. If you are cutting out two for the both sides, you will need to cut out another one exactly like this. Now because this is a tutorial and I'm actually not making a dress, I made just one of this. So now guys, we're through with this sleeve. What I'm going to do is first come down to the bottom area where I folded up earlier with my iron, and I'm going to go ahead and start pinning it all the way across. All right, so it's actually very simple. Go ahead and start pinning it across just like you see me doing like this. All right, so I'll go over to the sewing machine now and I'm going to stitch down this area here. So guys, I'm done stitching it down now, as you can see. All right, so we have our elastic casing here at the bottom, and another thing I went ahead to do was around the armhole area of the sleeve, I went ahead to make a gather stitch. All right, so that I'm going to use for a gathers as well later. You guys are going to see us do it together. So now for the bottom of the sleeve, I've cut out an elastic. The length of my elastic was about 9 inches wide. Now this is going to depend on how big your client is. You can measure around their sleeve to have an idea of how much elastic you should pass through the bottom part. All right, so for me, I used around 9 inches and I'm going to pass it through the casing that I have. So make sure not to forget to pin it down when you get to when it finishes at one point, so that it doesn't keep going out and out. Okay, so when you pin it down, you can comfortably pull it through until you get to the other end. So when you get to the other end, which is where we are right now, you're just going to go ahead and pin it down again before you take it over to the sewing machine and make a top stitch to secure this in place. All right, so this is what I have done here. All right, so now one part of the sleeve already has the gathers going on. All right, so now the next part that I'm going to do is to create the gathers at the middle. Now I think I should have done this before adding the elastic to the bottom part, but that's fine. I'm going to find a way around it. So the full length of this sleeve was 20 inches, so I'm going to be making the second gather at half of the sleeve, which is 10 inches, which is at the 10 inches point. So I've marked it here at the middle. You can see how the bottom part of the fabric is folding. That was why I said it's better if you do this before actually putting the elastic on the bottom part. So I'm just going to make sure that what I have here is still 10 inches. So okay, 10 inches is somewhere around here. So I'm also going to go ahead and measure 10 inches here and then take it through to the middle part. So what I'm going to do here is, on this line that I'm drawing out right now, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to top stitch an elastic, but I'm going to be pulling through the elastic as I sew down. So I'll place it like this and pull through as I sew down so that it will create the gathers as I sew. So let's go over to the sewing machine. So guys, this is it. So you are going to place your elastic first like this, and you are going to make a back stitch. After making a tiny back stitch, you are going to start stretching the elastic. What I did here was I stretched the elastic to its limits. All right, so stretch it to its limits and then go ahead and sew on the fabric. You will notice immediately that it's gathering as you're sewing along. So I'm just going to back stitch again and cut this off. Alright guys, so this is what I had after I was done with everything. You can see this bottom layer already has a full puff. So now the only part that is left to have it puff is this upper part. So what you have to do is to just pull on the gathers that you've made earlier. Just pull on one of the threads and continue to pull it until it's evenly dispersed. So I would push most of the gathers to be at the middle part so that I have my sides without a lot of gathers. I don't know if you understand. Just watch what I'm doing and do exactly the same thing. So just push your gathers mostly to the middle. All right, push the gathers all the way through. Don't just pack it at one point. Let it be centralized. All right, so once you've done the gathers at the top, you have the gather at the middle and at the bottom. You automatically have double layers of gathers on your sleeve. Alright guys, so this is what I had after making the gathers at the upper part. Now you're going to have to measure the upper part to be sure that it's still long enough to go through your armhole. Alright, so if it's not long enough, you ease up the gathers a bit until it's long enough. So you can see we already have our double gather effect going on right here, right? So now I'm going to turn this over to the wrong side and just go ahead and stitch down the side. Okay, arrange this side and just stitch it down. So guys, this is what I had after I was done stitching down the side. So what's left here now is for you to attach this to your dress, whatever dress that you're making it for, and that's basically it. So this is how to go about a double puff sleeve. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you find it helpful, and I'll definitely see you guys in my next tutorial. If you're still here to subscribe, please hit on the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Bye.